Good subsidies, bad subsidies. The world is full of both. We're going to talk a little bit about that, but mostly we're going to focus on the climate action happening in Washington, D.C., with comparable actions here in Iowa. This is a big week for that. We're also going to talk, that'll be Dr. Maureen McHugh with Physicians for Social Responsibility. Also, Mary Beth Gardam with the Move to Amend initiative will be joining us. And later in the program, Nikisha Phillips, as we discuss the difference between a doula and a midwife.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Ed Fallon here, folks. Gateway Market and Cafe is your locally owned source for specialty groceries. Enjoy chef-crafted, prepared foods, artisan baked goods, organic produce, specialty cheeses, and hand-selected wines and craft beer. Visit the lively cafe for breakfast, lunch, or dinner 7 days a week. Gateway Market is centrally located on the corner of Martin Luther King Jr. Parkway and Woodland Ave. Stop by or visit www.gatewaymarket.com for more details. That's Gateway Market, folks. Good food, great community.
This moment of silence brought to you by Tally's Restaurant Bar and Catering, home of Des Moines' premier rooftop dining experience. Located in the heart of Beaverdale, Tally's offers speedy and affordable rooftop lunch, catering for events both large and small, innovative cuisine, as well as vegetarian and gluten-free menus. Come to Tally's for live music, dry-aged steaks, Sunday brunch, and all-you-can-eat ribs every Monday night. Tally's Restaurant Bar and Catering at 2712 Beaver Avenue. Call 279-2067. That's 279-2067.
On March 28th, Equal Justice After Hours is Iowa Legal Aid's annual fundraiser that helps provide access to justice for low-income Iowans. The event includes a reception and program at the Temple for the Performing Arts in Des Moines. It also includes remarks by Georgetown University law professor Peter Edelman and the induction of Robert Oberbilly into the Iowa Legal Aid Hall of Fame. Tickets start at $50 and sponsorship opportunities are available. Contact Terry Bennett at tbennett@iowalaw.org. That's tbennett@iowalaw.org.
Times are tough, and most people are just trying to make their cars last a little bit longer. That's why you should know about Sargent's Garage in Des Moines. You can trust Sargent's to make the right diagnosis and give you a fair price. Whether it's a routine oil change or a major repair, Sargent's always does outstanding work. So don't give up on that old car just yet. Call Sargent's Garage at 246-8149. That's 246-8149 for Sargent's Garage. I'm a burrito.
I'm a fighting burrito, full of fresh ingredients prepared before your very eyes.
I don't have eyes.
I have over 28 options and 268 million combinations, including Rizo for vegetarians.
I can take my meat off and call myself vegetarian.
Put that back on. The Fighting Burrito is locally owned.
I'm owned by some big corporation somewhere. Say, you want to go on a date?
No thanks. I'm seeing a quesadilla.
The Fighting Burrito, online fightingburrito.com. Join the fight.
I love driving to Newton to see the
Me
races.
too, but I only have to drive across town.
You live in Newton?
Yep, Newton's got small town charm and it's close to Des Moines. I love the safe, friendly neighborhoods and family-owned businesses. And Newton's wind energy industry is really taking off.
How'd you find your home?
Dan Kelly with First Choice Realty. And Dan helped me find my office too.
Next time, instead of just speeding by, I'll stop in and check out Newton.
Why don't you check out Newton? Call Dan Kelly at 641-521-9260 or Dan Kelly at mchsi.com.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Maddie throwing in an extra drum beat there to kick off Brother Truckers downtown. Thanks, Maddie. That was wonderful. Wonderfully innovative percussion. I appreciate it. And I'm sure Andy Fleming does as well. Hey, I want to thank the Iowa chapter of the Sierra Club for sponsoring this program. And I want to commend the national head of the Sierra Club. This is the first time, the executive director, Michael Brune, who I've met on a couple occasions. He's the first Sierra Club leader in the group's 120-year history. Get this, folks, big honor. No, he was not named to some corporate list of wonderful, philanthropists. He's the first guy, first Sierra Club executive director, I should say, in the group's 120-year history to be arrested in an act of civil disobedience. How about that? We're going to talk about that. and about related matters with Dr. Maureen McHugh with Physicians for Social Responsibility, one of the other sponsors of this program. Welcome to the show, Maureen. Hello, Maureen. Do we have you? There we go. I had to push a button.
Uh-oh.
Me pushing buttons. Maureen, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I am very pleased to be on here to talk about this incredibly important topic today.
Yeah. So what do you think of the head of the Sierra Club getting arrested, and why? Can you tell us more about what happened there?
Well, actually, I was a little bit surprised because I thought everything was building up to the big event on the 17th, given all the events around our state and elsewhere in the country for President's Day. So I was surprised to hear that so many people were arrested yesterday, and they were all very big-name people. The CEO of Credo, which is a big phone
company, yeah.
Bill McKibben again, of course, the actress Daryl something or another. About something like 47 of them were arrested. So it was a big crowd of big-name people, so that was interesting. I don't know how much national coverage it got, but it was a big event already.
Well, it got zero coverage here in Des Moines, as far as I can tell, unless it was on the TV news. It certainly didn't make the Gannett Outlet paper today.
Yeah, I didn't hear it anywhere either. I read it, of course, because it came through from Credo, from Sierra Club, from PSR, from all of the other groups that are working so hard on stopping the Keystone and getting the president to really do what he says he's going to do, i.e., seriously address climate change.
And that was my next question. Okay, did they get arrested for jaywalking or littering or something more noble? And yes, it was the Keystone Pipeline protest.
Yeah.
What did they do exactly? Do you have information on that?
Well, my knowledge of it is what I can glean from, like I said, the different leaders of the different organizations. But my understanding was basically they all formed in front of the roadway leading to the White House. They were told by the police to disperse. They said, no, we are standing up for the climate and we will not move of our own volition. We have to stay for this. So they were all arrested when they would not move. They said the president said he's going to do something. We're here to encourage him to do something.
Okay. And I'm curious if any of those leaders, any of those folks who are arrested, had any feedback on the president's speech as it relates to climate action.
Well, they're all excited that he said he's going to do something about it. But of course, if at the first encounter, he actually lets the Keystone go forward, then all else is for naught.
Yeah, that kind of
critical point.
That really is the litmus test on this. I mean, sometimes on some issues there really is no litmus test. It's kind of broader. The details are vague sometimes, but on this one I think it's pretty clear. If we don't get this thing stopped, as Bill McKibben has said, it's game over. The amount of part.
Another way that the CEO of Credo put it, as long as he's lighting the fuse to the carbon bomb of the tar sands, I mean, we're just not going to make progress on climate change. And the urgency of the issue is playing out even as we all dither.
And my impression is, my recollection is rather, he did not mention the Keystone pipeline specifically in his speech.
No, he did not. We all listened very carefully, but no, it was not mentioned. And at this point in time, absolutely nobody is certain which direction he's going to go. But everybody feels unless the push isn't there, he is likely to go with moving forward on it. Yeah.
Well, so I'm glad the push is there. I mean, and you would hope that he wouldn't need a push. I mean, if he says what he said, and I'm trying to find the location here now, but
well, he basically said, we have to address climate change for ourselves, our future, our children. He made a fairly strong statement, but he applied absolutely no details.
When he said, but if Congress won't act soon to protect future generations, I will. I will direct my cabinet to come up with executive actions we can take now and in the future to reduce pollution, prepare our communities for the consequences of climate change, and speed the transition to more sustainable sources of energy. That's an interesting choice of three descriptors, and I mean, I would have chose different ones, but I think it's pretty clear. I mean, he's speaking about as strongly as you can expect a president to speak on this.
Right.
And if he really means it, he will block extension of the Keystone Pipeline. I mean, and maybe, and again, I'm looking to the appointment of John Kerry as Secretary of State and thinking, well, that is probably as strong an indicator of what his direction is going to be as any. And it looks to me as if John Kerry would be inclined to ixnay the Keystone Pipeline.
Although John Kerry has also made statements of how he's supporting Hillary's efforts to actually get it going. I think really both Kerry and Obama have been less than absolutely clear on this.
So what's the time? What's the time frame on this? How much further down the road do we go before we know what his decision is going to be?
Well, until he says yay or nay, we don't know.
But we don't know when that'll be.
Yeah.
It could be this week, could be later in the year.
Yeah, he's meeting, or at least Kerry has met with some of, I believe, the trade executives from the Canadian administration, and they keep talking about how they don't want to, abuse the relationship between the U.S. and Canada, that the U.S. and the Canadians are together, right. And so on, and so it has been rather unclear, really, what they plan to do. And so I think in the idea that we really don't have certainty, we have to keep making noise as much as we can. And like you said, we heard nothing about the arrests of all these really big-name people.
Yeah.
And so that wasn't a whole lot of noise. We know about it because we're following and looking for the information, but the general public doesn't. And that's why we need to get the grassroots mobilized all over the place in as many different, niches across the country as we possibly can.
Folks, we're talking with Dr. Maureen McHugh with Physicians for Social Responsibility about the action in Washington, D.C. this week on climate change and the Keystone Pipeline, trying to read President Obama's mind on that issue. Will he give it the thumbs up or the thumbs down? What will John Kerry do? What influence does Hillary Clinton continue to have on that decision? If you'd like to join the conversation, it's 244-0077. 855 is the toll-free number, 855-244-0077. And you can email me at fallonforum@gmail.com. Later in the program, also calling in from Eastern Iowa, Mary Beth Gardam joining us. She's with the Move to Amend campaign. And still later in the program, Nakisha Phillips discussing the differences between a doula and a midwife. And I've got a few things to throw in on the corporate welfare front, and also a little bit of analysis on the blossoming, the beginning signals of folks who want to run for Congress, both here in the 3rd District and in the 1st District in Northeast Iowa. But back to this conversation. Maureen,
Could I just, before you ask your next question, just get in a little bit of a plug so that people know that there are events scheduled all over the state of Iowa.
And that was my next question.
There are 10 different events occurring. Most of them are happening around or in our congressional delegations' offices. They include letters to the congressional delegation as well as to the president concerning their feelings about climate change and Keystone. And they're really happening all over the state, everywhere from Dubuque to Sioux City, from Waterloo to Ames and Iowa City and so on. So I really hope that we will get some media coverage for these events. And then many of the people joining the 10 events across the state will then be getting into their cars, buses, vans to create an entire line of vehicles heading out to Washington.
Yeah, and I hope more of those folks are on buses than in private cars. But
right. No, but the ones who are going in private cars, there's 5 to a car, 6 to a car, whatever people get in.
Well, and here in Des Moines, again, and you're welcome to plug some of the events in other communities. I don't remember the specifics on the action in Dave Lopsek's district. I did hear about it the other day, but the one here in Des Moines begins at 9 a.m., 9 o'clock in the morning on Friday, this coming Friday. That would be tomorrow. And that's at Tom Latham's office. And, folks, if you don't know, Tom Latham, again, breaking precedent here with our congressman having his office in the federal building. He has moved to an office at 2700 Grand. So that event starts at 9 o'clock at his office, 2700 Grand Ave. There will be delivery of letters, postcards, and petitions to Congressman Latham's staff in support of the climate action that we see this week and the actions that are planned later this year. The news media have been invited. We'll see if that actually happens. And following the visit to Congressman Latham's office, there will be a march down to, I believe it's a march, I believe folks are walking, down to the federal building at 210 Walnut Street to kind of make the same case with Senators Grassley and Senator Harkin. So again, similar actions happening in Iowa City, Cedar Rapids, Davenport, Dubuque, where else? Council Bluffs, Fort Dodge, Ames, Sioux City as well, Waterloo. So folks are getting mobilized, and that is good. And it'll be interesting to see whether the mainstream media gets mobilized as well. I mean, I am quite surprised that they ignored yesterday's action.
Yeah,
now,
I am too. But then again, the people who put that action together didn't alert very many people beyond their own smaller circles. So to that extent, I kind of blame them as well. It was a surprise to all of us.
That's a good point. That's a good point. And the action this Saturday, though, or is it Sunday? This Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
That one is not similarly low key. That has been publicized far and wide for a long time. There's quite a buildup. Again, as you indicated, there'll be a lot of people from Iowa going to Washington, D.C., and I don't know how many they expect. Do you have any sense of what the expectation is in terms of turnout?
Well, I keep hearing tens of thousands, but as interest grows, and perhaps the event yesterday will help spark more interest. It will bring in more of the memberships of each of the organizations that were involved yesterday. I don't know. Maybe they'll reach 100,000. I think they really need that to continue to really hammer on the issue, because so long as it remains a sidelined issue, we're all in danger.
Yeah. Well, and again, I would prefer that that elected officials don't even regard it as an issue, regard it as a crisis, as you would Superstorm Sandy or the flooding of Cedar Rapids or the horrific fires in Texas and out west. Those aren't issues. Those are disasters. They are a crisis, and this is a crisis. And it needs to be addressed like one. It needs to be addressed like our country came together around World War II to defeat Hitler. We can't continue to just lump it in with other issues that are very important, like money in politics and immigration and education and healthcare. Those are all important issues, but this is different. It is a crisis. Sound the alarm. Pull out all the stops. Do what we have to do to both mitigate the oncoming damages, because, folks, there's no doubt about it. We are in a world of hurt. Things are going to happen. They're already happening. They're going to happen at an accelerating rate. We need to figure out how to best brace ourselves for the range of possible things that are coming our way. And then we need to change our habits so dramatically, so quickly, so that we minimize the impact of climate change.
Right. We're talking not only how to mitigate, stop it from getting worse, how to prepare for, be resilient when things happen, but how to adapt to a rapidly changing set of crises that are going to come rolling in one after another. And the problem is we can't predict exactly how it's going to unfold. What we can predict is that it's going to get very scary, and that it is time, like you say, to pull out all stops, do what we can on all fronts to halt, to adapt, to become resilient, to use what resources we have to understand and to respond, because it's only going to get worse, as you say. And the longer we delay, the more it's going to cost us. And the fewer our resources. The idea of coming back from these big storms reduces our ability to come back from the next one.
There's a lot. I mean, how much did we appropriate to Superstorm Sandy victims? Was it $50 billion?
It was billions.
At some point, the pocket is going to run empty
Right.
on meeting the challenge to help the folks who are hit by disasters. I've got to run. Maureen, thank you so much for joining us. Dr. Maureen McHugh with Physicians for Social Responsibility, and I appreciate all the work that you're doing and your organization
Thank you.
does
and
on
tell
this.
everybody to get out there and go visit their elected officials,
Yes.
or write to them or call them.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Folks, I want to thank Gateway Market and Cafe for sponsoring this segment of our program. Gateway is a great little grocery store in the heart of Des Moines that gets a lot of its food from local farmers. Cheese, 200 varieties of cheese. Again, not all those are from local farmers, but it's impressive how many local farmers our dairy farmers are rising to the occasion and supplying that local demand for cheese. But besides the tremendous selection of groceries at Gateway, you've got breakfast, lunch, and supper in the cafe. A great bargain, as well as very, very tasty and healthy. So, folks, check them out. That's Gateway Market and Cafe at 20th and Woodland. I'll be back in a minute.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Drug and alcohol addiction slowly steals a person's identity, tearing away pieces of their life little by little until one day it seems like the hope of a happy future is gone and there's no chance of getting it back. Here at St. Gregory Retreat Centers, we can assure you that there is hope. Our unique approach to recovery begins with the understanding that the dysfunction and damage caused by addiction can be overcome, not just dealt with. Don't let another day go by. Call St. Gregory today.
The dawn of a new era begins.
Well, good morning. This is the 7th of June in the Lord's year 2010, and this is day 1 of webcast1live.com. We will begin with Max World Live with my special guest, Tom Coates. In just a minute, there's Tom. Wait. Howdy. And we will be live for the very first time on Webcast One Live. Someday we're going to look back on this and say, gosh, remember that old day in history? Wonder where Walter Cronkite was. He must have been around hanging there too. But actually, it's the beginning of Webcast One Live. And thank you for listening. Thanks, Rob Spearman, and everybody who's put together this project together. And we're ready to go live now. So thanks for listening to MaxWorldLive.com.
I can't tell you that it's going real well from time to time, but it is going, man.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Sweet Carmen,
gentlemen, folks, bringing us back to our conversation here on the Fallon Forum. We are going to be talking about the Move to Amend campaign, another money in politics issue. But I got a few things I gotta throw at you first. First of all, there are folks who are posturing to run for Congress. A couple people are already announcing for the 3rd district seat, and again, they're announcing without knowing whether that will be an open seat with Tom Latham perhaps moving on to run for the U.S. Senate, or whether they will be taking on Representative Tom Latham. Again, I argued back in 2008 that the best way to beat Tom Latham, because I predicted he would run, he would be thrown in with Boswell, and that wasn't rocket science. But it was a good guess, and it did happen, and so again, you know. I thought, too, Boswell would probably have to have a tough race against Latham. That happened. And my theory was that having a Democratic opponent to Latham with a stronger urban base, with a stronger progressive credentials, would have a better chance at beating him in a district that is very much mixed. You've got a lot of, you got urban areas, Polk County, and you've got Council Bluffs. Then you've got a vast sea of rural area in between. But it's a district where a strong candidate with a good base in urban Iowa, with a strong connection to rural folks who are populist and tired of being ignored, would have a really good chance against Latham. So we'll see what happens. The two candidates in that district already throwing their names into the ring. Mike Scherzan, who I do not know personally, but I know his brother quite well because I beat him back in 1992 when I first ran for the legislature. We didn't know each other at the time, haven't really got to know each other since, but Gary Scherzan was his name, and apparently the politics runs in that family because Gary was one of 2 Scherzans that have served in the Iowa legislature. Mike has never served. I don't know much about him. I mean, obviously I ran against Gary because we disagreed on some issues, but you never want to assume that the brother is, on the same page. Who knows? Who knows where he's at? I do know that the other candidate who is throwing his hat in the ring, Gabriel de la Cerda, is a fantastic progressive. Again, he's very strongly connected to the labor movement. He's worked at Firestone. He's been active with Local 310, and has a good head on his shoulders. I got to know him about a year and a half ago, and very impressed with his integrity, his commitment to the right issues, and we'll see where that goes. Again, very early, very premature. I'll talk a little bit about the first district as it starts shaping up. Maddie, are we ready to go with our caller? No, we are not. Okay, we're still trying to line up Mary Beth Gardam. Let me, in that case, tell you a little bit about the first district, because in today's news, former Iowa House Speaker Pat Murphy announcing he's a Democrat, longtime state rep. He was in the State House before I got elected in 1992. That's how long he's been in office. He's still there. Yeah, I guess a career politician, you could say that. He said, and he said, this is a quote, he described a run for Congress as, quote, the next logical step in his political career. So, yeah, it is a career. And for those of you who may not like career politicians, maybe you want to look at this one more carefully. Again, I'm not a fan. I know Pat. I served with him for 14 years. I would not support him myself. Under his watch, when Democrats had the House, Senate, and the governor's office, there was no action on campaign finance reform, no action on reining in the corporate hog confinements that have come into this state and made it impossible for the small family farmers to continue to operate and raise hogs. Yeah, there were some good things that did happen under his watch, but when it come to issues important to organized labor, only one bill, passed the House. Only one bill. And the reason was, again, Pat and others in leadership in the Democratic Party were really careful to select candidates for in tough seats that they fit kind of a profile of the district, but also candidates that they'd hope to be able to keep on track on some of the issues that they wanted to. But again, it's really a bad idea to try to micromanage those things too much. You should let the primary process work. And I wish that had happened in some of the seats. And, all those seats that became known as the six-pack, every one of those legislators has been beaten. Every one of those Democrats is gone. So again, those candidates didn't pan out. That's to me what happens when leadership gets too ambitious about trying to select candidates for a vacant seat. And that's kind of a mild criticism. My main criticism of Murphy in that area would be what happened here in Des Moines in Wayne Ford's former district. You know, between Murphy and Wayne, again, I don't know what happened exactly behind the scenes, but it was very clear that a successor had been chosen to fill Wayne Ford's seat, and he did not announce that he was running, that he was retiring. I had to out him. I outed him the beginning part of the week, the last week where he had to declare he wasn't going to run. A month and a half earlier, they'd already selected an opponent, a successor. That was Ruth Ann Gaines, and she was in on it. She knew it, and how do I know she was in on it? She said so on my program. She indicated that she knew back in February that they had asked her to run. So, it's not a good way to start a career. It's not a good way to end a career. And if you're the leader of the House Democrats and you're responsible for trying to make sure that this process operates openly and fairly, you don't quietly, you don't tell the outgoing legislator not to announce his retirement, thus denying any opportunity for a primary. And that's exactly what happened. Even though I was able to, get Ford to announce he was retiring a couple days early, there was still no time for any kind of any other opponents to come forth. And so instead of having a primary in a seat that's very, very Democratic, in a seat that will always see a healthy primary, you had one hand-picked successor. That was Ruth Ann Gaines, who went along with it. So again, I'm saying I don't want to. I would, again, beyond all the issues we talked about, somebody who works that way is not somebody that I want to send to Congress. Sorry, Pat. I don't believe that's the right way for folks to operate within in the Democratic Party. And again, Wayne Ford's seat was not the only one where that happened. So anyway, all very true, very verifiable. Let's hope I don't land myself another lawsuit for speaking the truth. That seems to happen once in a while. Okay, so we're still struggling with getting Mary Beth on the phone here for some reason, but that is not that big a deal because there are so many other things to talk about. I want to commend David Swenson for being the first voice in the Des Moines Register to provide a counterpoint to the drumbeat for principal to get a big public subsidy. And he nails all the right issues. Again, he points out that it's hard to know exactly how much they want. That hasn't been really clear. But it's probably, we know there's going to be tax increment financing. We know there's going to be tax credits, probably. We know that there'll probably be money from the Iowa Values or through the Economic Development Department, whatever it's called now. I can't keep up with these things. And again, and the city council was just all sorts of excited about this without really knowing all the details and without asking some of the tough questions that Swenson poses. He says, quote, "Why in the name of fiscal prudence are state and local officials providing taxpayer-funded economic development incentives to a well-established and extremely well-capitalized business?" Okay. Again, they're extremely well-established. I think they're in the top, in terms of Fortune 500, are they in the top 50, I believe? They're way up there. They obviously don't need any help. This is not because they're struggling. This is not because they're in some kind of distress. And I haven't seen anybody yet ask the question, well, is Principal really threatening to leave Iowa? Is that really going to happen? I'm going to ask that question. And I'm troubled by the fact that nobody seems to be laying that out. I really doubt they'd leave Iowa. You look at what they have in downtown Des Moines now. You look at the incredible investment. And it's impossible to imagine how they would pick up and abandon that investment and be able to, to finance that infrastructure anywhere else, even with a bunch of other public money coming from state and local governments somewhere else. Again, it's possible because, largely because the amount of money that governments are willing to hand out to corporations is huge and it's getting bigger. So, yeah, that might happen. But again, I say call their bluff. And Swenson, he's basically saying the same thing. He points out that the financial services company Principal is asking local and state taxpayers to subsidize what it already was going to do to remain competitive and profitable in its dominant sphere of business influence. I mean, these are things it was going to do already. And again, talking about upgrading the workplace, building a private skywalk. These things are not things the public should be subsidizing. Let's go to our phone lines and welcome Mary Beth to the show. Mary Beth Gardam, hello.
Here.
Hi. Are you with us?
Yes, I am.
Good. What's going on with Move? Well, first of all, tell our folks a little bit about what Move to Amend is and then what's going on with it.
Move to Amend is a national diverse coalition of groups and individuals who have been working for several years now on trying to pass a new amendment to the U.S. Constitution that says that corporations are not people and should not be entitled to the same constitutional rights that were intended for human persons,
right,
and that money is not speech and should be and must be regulated to ensure the integrity of our elections and the health of our vibrant democracy.
Okay, so there is movement at the state capitol on this issue. And again, congratulations, you landed a Des Moines Register thistle for your efforts.
Yes, well,
you've arrived. Very good.
The legislators who proposed this in a form of it anyway in the House received the thistle, but I share in that.
Yeah, you were implicitly guilty of thistledom.
Yes, and I wear it proudly.
Oh, good. Yeah. So again, that bill, well, it's a resolution, correct?
It's a resolution, yeah.
It would call on Congress to take action to
develop an amendment, the 28th Amendment.
Constitutional Convention for an amendment, yeah.
Well, yes, and it wouldn't necessarily have to go to a constitutional convention. We feel that if the Congress, enough of a majority of the Congress is in favor of this, they could simply author the amendment and have it be voted on. Right. And that's what we'd, of course, like to see happen, but we're not opposed to it going to a convention if it must. Okay. And I will say that we are thrilled that in addition to the action at the state level here in Iowa, on Monday, February 11th, the We the People Amendment was introduced in Washington by two House of Representative
what is that?
Members. Well, it's an excellent amendment to the Constitution, which does, in fact, everything that we've been working towards. It declares that money is not speech and should be regulated, and that corporations are not people and should not have the same rights inherent.
And how is that different than the amendment being proposed here?
It's stronger than the one that was proposed already, but it's very similar to one that Senator Danielson has been working on in the Senate, which we hope will be introduced in both houses. Right. This amendment, We the People, says the rights protected by the Constitution of the United States are the rights of natural persons only. Artificial entities established by the laws of any state, the United States, or any foreign state shall have no rights under this Constitution and are subject to regulation by the people through federal, state, or local law. Okay. This is important, Ed, on several levels. It returns to We the People a voice in our own government, but also it means that for all of us who have been working on this, it's quite an achievement. And as we saw in Montana, any effort that we make locally to put in place a protective law that protects the integrity of our elections and our election campaign funding will fail, just as it did in Montana, unless there is a concurrent federal framework created by a constitutional amendment. Montana had pristine campaign finance laws that were overturned by Citizens United in 2010. And they recently, in the last election, worked hard to get this back on their ballot, and it was approved by a majority of Montanans, and the United States Supreme Court, in their, some would call it wisdom, overturned the Montana decision and said it was unconstitutional for a state.
Corporations would call that wisdom.
Synergy. They would call it synergy.
Synergy, right. They would call it a boost to the bottom line. Yeah.
But we are really delighted with the progress that this campaign is making, both across the United States, with resolutions in about 11 states now, and at the city and county levels in hundreds of cities and counties. And now, here in Iowa, we're finally beginning to jump on board because, honestly, if we intend to pursue our first-in-the-nation caucus status, we had best be able to guarantee that our elections are pristine and the funding of them is beyond reproach.
Very true. Hey, Mary Beth, I want to thank you for joining us. I got to run to a break here. Is there any, if folks want more information or want to keep track of the legislation moving through the Iowa legislature, is there a website they can go to for that?
They can go to the National Move to Amend website. I'm not sure that they have posted yet the Iowa resolution, but we're working on getting a stronger one introduced, and when we do, that one will be posted there. It's www.movetoamend.org.
And keep us posted on the congressional race up just north of you there in Cedar Rapids. We're interested in what happens across the state in terms of the 2014 election. Certainly, there could be at least one, maybe two seats, possibly three even, in play as folks jockey for either positions to run for the U.S. Senate or perhaps even for governor. So,
well, an even bigger issue here right now is the vote on the casino for Lynn County.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I assume that you're against that.
Yes, you are correct.
Good for you. So am I. And I'll bet some of my more conservative audience members would be with us on that one.
Well, we have a pretty big coalition of churches who are against it because of the moral implications. And for me, I'm really not sure that the jobs that this will produce will be the kinds of jobs that we want for our young people.
Well, I'm pretty sure they aren't. And the other thing is, a casino almost always means that that other small businesses don't receive the discretionary dollar that they once did. Bowling alleys, restaurants, bars. I mean, you've only got so much money to spend.
They've
and if you're spending at a casino, oftentimes, I mean, more and more of the casinos in the state are owned by out-of-state corporations, too. So it's just another way of shipping dollars out of Iowa.
And they've got a TV commercial on here that has Lou, the meat lady, a lady who owns a meat shop in Czech Village, who's a pro-casino, thinks this is the best thing since sliced bread or ground meat.
Yeah.
But then the interesting thing to me is, does she really think that all those scores of people who will bus in to go to a casino are going to take time away from their gambling and frolicking at the casino to go buy meat?
Yeah,
no, they're carried around with them for a few hours.
More likely, they'll buy food at the casino, thus decreasing their need to go buy meat at her place. Anyway, I'm way over the time to go to a break here, Mary Beth. I got to run.
Thank you
for joining us, and folks, I want to thank Community CPA and Associates for sponsoring this segment of the program. Community CPA was founded by Ying Sa, and she has grown this accounting firm to the 15th largest one in the state. There's a good reason for that. They do fantastic work. They've worked on my taxes for a long time, and I can tell you they do a great job. I do not know where I would be without their help, in fact. So give them a shout, folks, at 288-3188. That's 288-3188. Ask for Ying Sa at Community CPA and Associates. We'll be back in a minute. Nakisha Phillips is going to join us. We're going to talk about the difference between a doula and a midwife. I got a few other housekeeping issues to go over, including I want to finish what I was telling you about David Swenson's take on the Principal Financial Package. We'll be back in a minute.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Community CPA is the 15th largest CPA firm in Iowa, providing audit, tax, and accounting services. Community CPA specializes in international tax treaty and double taxation avoidance among countries and states. 9 dedicated, experienced, hardworking staff are the company's foundation, and their compassion towards every client is the secret behind Community CPA's success. At Community CPA, you can expect quality service year-round. Call 288-3188. Community CPA, 3816 Ingersoll. Experience the difference.
Since 1994, Sid's Catering has graced Des Moines area events with quality service and rave reviews. Owner Sid Cohn's culinary career began with a Northeast Iowa vacation home for international clientele. Sid earned a Bachelor of Science in Hotel Restaurant Management and was the assistant clubhouse manager at Des Moines Golf and Country Club. Sid has a passion for fresh, local products and offers a wide range of options, including vegan, gluten-free, and ethnic. Mention the Fallon Forum when you book your breakfast or lunch event and get 10% off. Contact Sid's Catering at 208-2091. That's Sid's Catering at 208-2091.
This is Dr. Holding of the Story County Veterinary Clinic. For 15 years, we have been spaying and neutering feral cat groups at affordable prices. Wild cats destroy game birds and songbirds. A single female cat can produce over 4,000 kittens in 7 years. The shelters are full, so unwanted kittens will be put to sleep. Your cats will stay home and stay healthy. Call us for all your dog and cat needs at the Story County Veterinary Clinic between Ames and Nevada on Highway 30, 1 mile east of Interstate 35. 515-232-8766.
It's time to think about upgrading the efficiency of your furnace and air conditioner. Leonard Tinker Heating and Cooling has provided honest, competent service for over 20 years. Whether it's your home or business, for repair work or to install a more energy-efficient furnace or air conditioner, call Leonard Tinker at 263-0422. That's 263-0422. For honest, competent heating and cooling service, call Leonard Tinker at 263-0422.
Nestled in the heart of downtown, Ritual Cafe is one of Des Moines' most unique places, offering a wide variety of coffee and tea. Ritual Cafe also serves the only all-vegetarian menu in town. And Ritual Cafe is a cultural hub for artists and musicians, with a performance stage hosting local, national, and international talent. Make Ritual Cafe a part of your daily ritual. On 13th Street between Locust and Grand in downtown Des Moines. And check out ritualcafe.com.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
That's Baber's Neighbors bringing us back. I was listening to bluegrass music earlier today while I was cleaning windows. It made the window washing go much quicker. That and the Zydeco and Cajun music I threw into the mix. Anyway, if you need your windows washed, all you got to do is play Zydeco, Cajun, and bluegrass for me, and I'm there. We're talking about we're gonna switch gear. I want to. Well, let me just get it out of the way right now. Again, I want to thank David Swenson for being an ongoing voice of sanity in the whole corporate welfare debate. Check out his piece today in the Des Moines Register, folks. Page 11. There's a smiling face. Again, he's always got really, really good observations. And he points out again, the principal is only the latest big corporation to get in line for public handouts. Pioneer Hybrid, Wells Dairy, Kemin Industries, Rockwell, John Deere, Wells Fargo, the Des Moines Register. They're all relatively recent examples, he points out, where state and local taxpayers basically helped underwrite massive capital developments. And these are businesses that don't need it. They're entrenched, which is a good thing. I mean, we want them here in our communities. I don't mind that. But we don't need to pay through the nose to keep them here, okay? This has become a silly game, and it's a game where politicians seem to be just afraid as all get out to say, hey, we're going to call your bluff and say no. This would be a great time to do that because there's no way Principal Financial is moving out of state. And I do want to, again, I want to thank the assistant director, I think, of media relations at Principal Financial Group for signing up for my email updates. Good for you. Now you can keep an eye on me and make sure I don't say anything that might warrant, say, a lawsuit. I'm trying to avoid lawsuits, folks, but I guess I just have to say what's on my mind, and maybe that lands me in trouble. But it's not my intent. I really would like to live free of any more of those sorts of things. All right, I'm switching gears here. And by the way, I didn't realize we have a fourth guest in the studio today, so we're going to move fast because we got a lot to cover in another 10 minutes. But I think this may be the first program where I've had 4 guests, and every single one of them a woman. We have Mary Beth Gardam talking about the Move to Amend campaign, Dr. Maureen McHugh about climate action, and now we have Nikisha Phillips in the studio. Nikisha is coming in every Thursday. I'm really grateful for you doing this because I think it's really important for folks to have a sense of what pregnancy is like. And last week you talked about your fascinating experience with the requirement that you have a car seat, even though you and your husband don't own a car.
Yes.
Anyway, I hope that resolved favorably.
Oh, wow, there's a child.
Yeah, there's you've got a special backdrop there for you.
It's pretty horrifying.
Yeah.
I thank you for asking me to come. It's actually really great to kind of pass along the education that I've kind of been giving myself and with the great women I've been working with my midwife and my doula.
And why do you have both a midwife and a doula? That fascinates me. And I think people don't know there's a difference sometimes.
There is. A midwife is someone who has medical training, and I'm assuming all of them are women. I've never heard of a male midwife, but I'm sure they may exist. She has medical training. She doesn't necessarily have to have a degree, but they have to go through a certain regimented supervised clinicals, just typically kind of like a nurse or a doctor.
Okay.
And they vary by state, the standards that they have to meet. That allows them to practice by themselves or with a group of midwives. Basically, they would take place of a doctor during delivery.
Right.
So they would actually deliver your child.
Okay.
A doula is more of a support system.
During the pregnancy?
Yes, during the pregnancy, during the delivery, and a lot of times postpartum. So a lot of times they'll come into your home, teach you how to breastfeed, or answer any questions that you might have. They're just a support for your partner and yourself. But they have no medical training. They can't advise you medically, legally, but they have to go through certifications as well. So
okay, good. All right. So you're finding you're again, you're doing more work with your doula right now, but at some point you'll be doing obviously a lot more work with the midwife.
Well, yes, the midwife we meet just like we would meet a doctor,
right?
For checkups and that sort of thing. So I meet with the midwife. Right now, I have just contact with my doula via text messages or over telephone or email, just to kind of touch base. Like I said, she's a support for someone that I don't really have a lot of family support, so it's nice to have somebody there.
Well, the whole Des Moines community is your family now.
Yeah.
So again, it's my impression is, and again, I live next to a midwife clinic, so I'm increasingly familiar with this. And I have years ago, I assisted at the delivery of a friend who used a midwife. But my impression is, since those days and looking up to the present time, things are changing. There are more and more people who are there to provide that service. That's my impression.
Yeah, it's a really, it was kind of shunned once. Births kind of got hospitalized I believe it was in the 20s and 30s is when a lot of people started having hospital births. And so it was kind of a whole like witch hunt led by the medical community toward midwives. And in recent years...
Because they saw it as competition?
Yeah, probably. Yeah. I mean, why would any other witch hunt be... just kind of scared of, but there's two great documentaries. If anybody has any questions or interested in learning any more about this midwifery or doulas, The Business of Being Born. It's on Netflix. It's called The Business of Being Born? Mm-hmm. Okay. It's a documentary. You could maybe even get it at your library, local library. And there's a follow-up. It's called More Business of Being Born. And
well, they they hit a wall on creativity there, or what?
Well, I guess there was just so much in the first documentary that, I mean, so much of an outcry, like for more detailed information, that they made up a second documentary. And these documentaries go into greater detail about the role of a midwife, the role of a doula, and that kind of thing. And those two documentaries are really well done and very informative. And that's how we chose to go the route we did. So.
Right. Well, Nikisha, thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome.
Thanks to Jess as well for being obviously very supportive. And we'll see you next week.
Okay, sounds
folks.
good.
We're going to shift gears here and go from talking about delivering babies to stomping on the floor. I've had Betsy Bishok on the show with me before. She is the one of the organizers of the local square dance here in Des Moines. There is a regular square dance in Ames. Des Moines is trying to get its feet back on the ground in terms of having a regular one, but this is an occasional event that is coming up this Saturday.
That's correct.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So what can you tell us about what's happening?
Well, there's going to be a dance this Saturday. The lesson is at 7:30, so it's very beginner friendly.
So folks come at 7:30 if they don't know what they're doing.
Correct. The lesson is from 7:30 to 8, and then the dance is from 8 to 11.
So you can basically learn how to be a square dancer in a half an hour.
Exactly.
Kind of like a talk show host.
That's all you need.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, and it is it's a good time. It's at Oddfellows Hall.
Correct.
Which is what's the address of that?
It's on the corner of Kingman and 29th.
29th. I think you're right.
It's right very close to Drake University.
Yeah.
So.
And the admission charge?
The admission is $10 per person. 12 and under are free, and then it's also a family maximum of $25. So it's very family friendly.
So if you have 10 kids, you won't pay any more than $25.
No, you won't.
Good, yeah. It is a fun time, folks. I mean, I tell you, it's good exercise, and it's good music too. Who's the band again?
The band is the Barn Owl Band.
The Barn from Ames.
From Ames,
yeah,
correct.
they're very good.
They are.
So yeah,
they've played for us before.
Yeah, and I've been to their dances in Ames before as well. So.
Correct. And the caller, his name is Rick Goldman, and he's actually from the San Francisco area. So we're kind of branching out, getting other callers to come from different areas. So
I've never known Des Moines or Ames, for that matter, to have a caller travel from so far away.
No, this is our first time. Does
that mean he's really good?
I think he is.
Okay, great. All right, folks, that's the square dance coming up this weekend. If you're a beginner and you want to learn the ropes, 7:30. The actual dance is from 8 to 11. Cost is, again,
$10.
$10, or maximum of $25 if you're a family. And there's no advanced purchases of tickets. You just show up at the Oddfellows Hall at 29th and Kingman Boulevard. Make your intentions known and dance your little heart out. It'll be a fun time.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks for joining us, Betsy.
Sure.
And thank you, folks, for sticking around for the final segment of the show. I do want to remind you that Bradshaw, will be with you next. Tomorrow, looking ahead, Dr. Charles Goldman, a frequent guest on the show. Dr. Charles Goldman and I usually agree pretty strongly, but tomorrow is a different thing. We're talking about media violence, and this conversation came out of the whole, the national distress over what happened at Sandy Hook, and the way the conversation tended to focus on either mental health counseling or gun control. And I think a big missing piece of that conversation is media violence. Charles disagrees. He's wrong, of course, but no, we're going to have that conversation. You're welcome to join in, too. I'd love to hear more opinions. I've gotten plenty of opinions sent my way by email. So if you've got an opinion to share, you can do that at fallonforum@gmail.com, or you can listen live tomorrow and call in and weigh in on that as well. Also tomorrow, Deb Bunka is going to join us. She's going to give us an update on KHOI 89.1 FM. It's the community-owned station in Ames, and they're having an event tomorrow night in Ames from 5 to 9 to help raise awareness and raise funds to keep that station moving forward. Also tomorrow, Heather Ryan is going to join us for the usual Friday segment that we do with Heather called Ryan's Rants. Anyway, I also want to thank, again, all of our sponsors, especially for this segment of the show. I wanted to thank Leonard Tinker Heating and Cooling. If you need a furnace repaired, if you need an air conditioning unit repaired or replaced, and it's that time of the year where you might want to do that, give Leonard Tinker a shout. He's at 263-0422. 263-0422. Tinker Heating and Cooling. I also want to thank Sid's Catering. Sid Cohn is an extraordinary chef. She's been doing catering for a long time as well. Started in Northeast Iowa, worked at the Des Moines Golf and Country Club, now runs her own business and can cater all sorts of options, gluten-free, vegetarian, all sorts of ethnic options. So, folks, check out her website, Catering by Sid, online, cateringbysid.com. You can find out more about the things that she can do for you, not just on the broad range of events, but also particularly for breakfast and lunch events. So, again, I want to thank all my guests today for joining us. I want to thank Maddie Arrington, my producer. I want to thank Webcast One Live for helping to host the studio that this show broadcasts out of. I want to encourage you to go to my Facebook page, click like, let's keep in touch. And you can also keep in touch with me through subscribing to my once-a-week email update. And again, as a tribute to Nikisha, we're going to go out of the show with a tune that I picked out that I thought would be a really great way to celebrate halfway through a pregnancy. Baby rap.
I'm Brian Leach, owner and general manager of Service Legends. I brought along a couple of the home comfort heroes.
Hi, I'm Tammy Wells.
I am Nick Wondershad.
I am administrative manager.
I am the senior technician
from Service Legends.
It seems like every good thing, when you feel it to the bone that it's good, there's a lot of hard work put behind it. I don't think that you can fake it and have it turn out good.
You know, if we seemed like, okay, that's just weird, it's just a furnace, why would you believe so deeply in a furnace? It's not just that, you know, we want to show the world that you can have good service.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be, it's your home.
You know, it's built into our daily trainings, it's built into our culture, that we're gonna do whatever it takes to have each client say they love us, period.
That's why we spend all the hours in the training that we do. And if we guarantee it's gonna be a good experience for you, or else it's free, what type of work do you think we're gonna do?
There is a guarantee.
Temperature selection guarantee, fixed right or it's free guarantee, comfort guarantee, best value guarantee. All of these guarantees hold us accountable to ensuring that we exceed your expectations. And if for whatever reason we'd fail and we can't make it right, we guarantee all of those guarantees with a 100% money back guarantee.
I mean, if you don't think that your technician can fix it right, are you gonna say that to a client? No.
You don't have to worry about having a technician come to your house.
We drug test, background check all of our team members. We put safe people in your home. Each and every one of our service techs, 400 hours a year in training.
You tell it the minute they walk in the door. They know what they're doing, they've done their homework, and they actually truly care about what you want.
Because at the end of the day, you're the person that makes sure I have a job.
They're gonna be listening. They're gonna wanna know what your challenges are. Then they're gonna come and give you options, and you get to choose.
If I'm there to help and I make it easy and painless, I did my job right that day.
Well, when it comes to your comfort, safety, and your family, you know, you don't necessarily go buy the most expensive, but you get the most bang for your buck.
Oh, it's worth it, because there's a lot of people that will find a way to get it to work right now and then leave and then come back, charge you again, and the cycle just repeats itself. So when I'm out there looking at the furnace, I want to find why it failed today. How can we change the part today with something that you're not going to have to worry about? Is it worth changing the part today? I mean, you can put a lot of money into a furnace. I can fix parts all day. There's good job security in that for me, but is it the right thing for you?
I get a lot of the phone calls of after the technicians are there. They're just in awe. They're like, wow, you guys are great. I mean, I don't even know what to say. You guys are great. Everything you did was perfect. It was great.
Keep going though, I like this.
Just give us a try. I'm gonna take all the risk.
I've got the time to make this right. I've got the support to make it right.
Just check us out.
And if you don't see the value in what we do,
I mean, fixed right or it's free or 100% money back.
Enough said.